Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Boot Camp. We are so glad that you have joined us as we're kicking things off here with prospecting and marketing that converts to clients. My name is Chris. I am on our coaching team here at Nitrogen, joined by my wonderful cohort here, Stephanie. Stephanie, thanks so much for joining in today.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I'm glad to be here. Excited to have everybody join us and walk through some prospecting and marketing best practices.
Let's do it. Let's get right into it. We do this at the top of every session here. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. Just a heads up, as you're joining, the lines are muted. That's just going to help us cut down on distractions as we go throughout today's session. But that does not mean that we don't want to hear from you. We've got a little chat inside of your Zoom window there. Would love to know where you're calling in from today. So let us know where you're. Is it sunny? Is it cloudy? Is it snowy? Is it whatever? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Also, we have a Q&A box there. So as questions come up throughout today's session, we want to hear from you. Use that Q&A box there again in your Zoom window, and we'll be keeping an eye on those. We'll have a Q&A session here at the end here. So make sure that you get your questions in there. We want to answer those for you. Don't wait till the end. Put them in even right now. Where does Stephanie get that cool wallpaper she's got in the background? You can ask that. That's totally fine. That's okay. And at the end of today's session, we're just going to pop up a little bit of a poll here just to make sure that this content is useful for you. And if there's any other things that you would like to see us cover for you here in Nitrogen. And we also, under our resources tab, have resources for you. So again, in your Zoom window, kind of like a one-stop shop here, some resources for you to download to take with you from this session. We don't expect you to just remember it all just from right now. And yes, it is being recorded. And yes, you will get a copy of the recording once we're done here today. So a quick heads up about that. Now, as we're taking a look at a roadmap of where we're going and where we're headed, we want to talk about connecting marketing to growth. One of the things that we hear from advisors all the time is how Nitrogen helps them expand their business, grow their business using Nitrogen. We're going to talk a little bit about that, creating some curiosity around this risk number. What is this risk number? How do we get folks interested in it and then take them into the process of becoming a client? We'll talk about that. Again, building your funnel with Nitrogen and at what point in the funnel are we entering in? How are we starting to create those elements there? Using Nitrogen to get folks into that funnel to have them become a client. And then those first meetings. What do I do? Okay, I've captured them as a prospect. What the heck do I do now? What is the next step there? And of course, like we mentioned, we'll have a Q&A here at the end. Make sure we're getting all those questions covered for you as well. And a reminder, just inside of Zoom there, go ahead and use that Q&A box as you have questions coming up. But Stephanie, I'm going to stop. I'm going to breathe here for a little bit. I think I'll popcorn it over to you for our next session here.
All right, fantastic. So, yeah, we're going to go through a couple of marketing best practices and sort of concepts to begin with. So, if you're thinking about prospecting, you want to fill that funnel. How do you get people to even become aware of what you do as a firm? So, you'll see that sort of illustration there on the side. But we hear sometimes from advisors and those in the space, like, why does filling that funnel feel hard? Why is it difficult sometimes? Some people say, well, I'm having plenty of prospective conversations, but I'm not like converting prospects into clients, or prospects aren't getting like the value that our firm offers. Or sometimes that marketing and growing your firm can feel disconnected from the actual meetings that you're having day to day. So those are just a few examples of why it can be a little bit more of a challenge on the front end of things to fill that funnel, to market your firm. I know I hear from plenty of advisors, they're like, I don't want marketing to feel too salesy or things like that. So we're hopefully going to give you some tips today on how you can prospect in that really kind of natural, nurturing way to drive that interest with prospective clients. And then, so with that, when it comes to thinking about our prospective clients, the people you're meeting with day to day, or the people that you're reaching with your marketing, how are they actually making decisions? If you think about your own decision making sometimes, I'm sure there's a rational component, but we do have a lot of emotion behind our decision making. So we decide emotionally and then make sure we have some rational justifications to back that up. So when we're thinking about meeting with prospects, gathering prospects in that sort of marketing and growth funnel. We want to remember a few of those pieces, like, speaking to clients or appealing to their emotions and creating clarity and confidence for them. Prospective clients really want that clarity and confidence. Their number one concern tends to be understanding risk and how it affects their future. So, as their future potential advisor, being able to sweep in and show them how you can make it easier on them and clear and instill confidence in them, it can bring that much more value to those early relationships. And so, something that I want to highlight too is even before the initial meeting that you have with a prospect, those really good, effective prospect meetings start beforehand. So, when they are visiting your website or getting an email from you, or all of that work before the very first meeting is where really good prospect success begins. So we want to not just focus on the meetings and having a good, strong meeting with a prospect, but also how are we nurturing them through that initial discovery of your firm and engaging with your firm and things like that. So we'll show you some tools that you'll have at your disposal in Nitrogen to really help with that. So that you can make an impact even long before they schedule on your calendar. So before we jump into the prospect or the product, one last thing that I want to highlight is just some best practices on what we see high conversion advisors focusing on. Obviously, it's not always about the products that you can offer or the investments that you can offer, but really connecting with people on that human level, leading with values, helping them understand risk early on in the relationship and using visuals to make things clear, easy to understand. Really, if you can touch on any and hopefully all of these points, you can really knock your prospect meetings out of the park and have more folks converting to longtime clients. So, with that, let's dive into the good stuff. We'll log into our platform here and jump in. But as we're doing that, I want to have you kind of think about your own prospecting and marketing funnel. Where do you feel like your funnel is breaking? Where do you struggle most on that sort of marketing and prospecting process? Is it the lead generation? Is it first meeting conversions? Are we struggling with follow-up consistency or showing value to prospects? Kind of think through some of those components. Hopefully, you can learn at least one thing today to go back to your day-to-day workflows and bring it home and kind of improve those areas that might be broken or not operating as optimally as we would like.
Yeah.
So with that, let's jump in. We've talked about, how prospects decide and how the funnels work and everything. So Chris, walk us through how that actually comes to life in Nitrogen.
Yeah, I love that, Stephanie. I love how you pointed that out there, folks, for folks to, where are you? Think about that if you want to, so we don't feel like we're struggling, so we feel like we're so alone and isolated. If you want to drop that in the chat there for us, so other folks can see, like, hey, maybe, oh my gosh, I didn't even think maybe I didn't have that idea or struggling. We want to make this a collaborative environment. So in the chat, if there's somewhere where you're maybe getting stuck or you're trying to noodle around where to do that, go ahead and put that in the chat there. We'd love to see where that is, and maybe we can offer some advice or some help around that as well, or again, questions in the Q&A box there. But yeah, let's jump in. As we're jumping into the product here, just a heads up that as you're landing in Nitrogen, this is your home page where we're going to go here. And like a good peanut butter or jelly or peanut butter and chocolate, that's my favorite stuff there, Stephanie. We'll see how a couple of things go together here using the marketing resources inside of Nitrogen to help you create curiosity around that risk number. And then what are the next steps? So first thing we'd like to point out is the lead generation button or the lead generation link. And you'll see Stephanie clicked there at the top right-hand corner, setting menu, and then settings right there. is where we're going to go and find that. And then when we come to the settings page here, we'll see that we've got the lead generation tab right there. And that's going to give us a few options here. Now we're going to go to one called untitled link right here. And we'll see that here at the top, I've got kind of a sub navigation menu where it says button. We've got hyperlink there, and then we've got advanced. What the heck are those? That is a great question. We will break those down for you here, starting with the button. So the idea is, how are we creating curiosity? How are we capturing those leads to begin with? Well, we have a button here that you can put on your website. Now, over here on the right-hand side here, you'll see like, hey, that's what that would look like when that appears on the website. But how do we get to done there? Well, over on the left-hand side here, this is where we can customize this button. So this is where we can have a little bit of fun and go in and play here. You see where Stephanie clicked on the little down arrow there. We could change the text that's on that button there. What's your risk number? Does my portfolio fit me? If you click on other too, if we go back up there real quick and you click on that, you can type in your own text there. So maybe there's something that resonates with your particular demographic or the folks that you serve or your region or your area. You can update that text to be custom for you right there. Moving on, we have other options here. Do I want to make it lighter or darker? Do I want to make it smaller or larger? You get the idea of what those options are right there. And we'll see that that button is, that sample is updating every time we make one of those changes. And when we're ready, we're like, yep, that is chef's kiss. That is how I want it to look. On my website there, we have this copy code button right here. So when you got it looking how you want to, you'll click on copy code. That basically puts it to your clipboard there on your computer. And then you can paste that in, whether you're doing the website yourself, that would you go into your website editor and put the code in there. Or if you've got folks that are handling that for you, your marketing folks or your website folks, you would send that over to them. And this will then help them get that button on your website. Now, when somebody visits the website, once that button is on there, they will click on that button. It will launch the lead generation questionnaire. So basically, it will take them through asking them for their name and their email address. So we have a way to follow up with them afterwards. It'll take them through that risk assessment process. And then at the end, it'll even ask them for a phone number. It's optional. But once they've completed that, that will create a profile inside of Nitrogen for you. It will send you an email like, hey, Sally Smith just completed the lead generation questionnaire. You've got a lead. Come in here and take a look. And we'll talk about how to follow up on that here in just a little bit. But a really dynamic process here to help get those leads inside of Nitrogen for you. Now, we've got a couple of other options here when it comes to this lead generation questionnaire. If we scroll up here just a little bit, the next option is this hyperlink option right here. So perhaps you want to hyperlink this in a blog post or an email campaign that you're sending out to folks, or we're on social media and we want to have a call to action with this post that we're putting. And we'll talk a little bit about social media posts here in just a little bit, expand on that a bit. This is where you would basically use that link there to hyperlink that text, to put that as a call to action in a blog post or a social media post. One of the things that I encourage folks to do is when you have a chance, and even log into your account right now and go to menu and settings and find this link here, you can copy it and then open a new tab in your browser and paste it in and just walk through it yourself, just so you see how folks would complete that and how it would look as they go through that process, whether clicking on a link here or clicking on that button that you put on your website. It's going to be the same process. Now, we always like to offer you help guides. We like to say we like to teach you how to fish, not just give you a fish for the day. So you'll see that here we have some links for some guides here that will help you. Maybe I want to, how do I put it on my website? How do I put it in my email signature? A lot of advisors I see, I get emails from them and I see that button sitting right there in their signature. It's going out to everybody. Again, creating curiosity around that risk number. Those are some helpful tips for you as well. We'll also point out real quick that help tab just on the right hand side of our screen here. I'm taking a little bit of a rabbit trail here, but just speaking of help resources, clicking on that help tab, clicking on the spyglass there, if you want to click on, click on that and type in lead generation, or click on our knowledge base option right there. You can search any of these things that we're talking about, lead generation, marketing kit, etc., right there in the help tab. So a great resource for you as you're navigating not only through these aspects, but through other aspects in Nitrogen. We've got all those resources there for you. We'll finish this off just by clicking on the one other tab that we have there called Advanced. And this is, I say, this is above my pay grade. I like to say, with folks like to nerd out, This again would be a button on your website. So like we saw on the first tab, this takes it to a whole nother level. So basically this is very dynamic code, just copying and pasting that code straight and sending that to your website folks, whoever's doing that for them. This will allow them to basically get the same concept, but have that button instead of looking like a little template one that we saw on the first tab there, they can have it match the shape, the size, the color, just a little bit more customization there when putting that button on your website. So again, this last one would be a button for the website there. So different ways to get that lead generation link out there, whether it's a button, whether it's a hyperlink. We could put it in the email signature as well. Stephanie, I'm going to hop over here to the marketing kit to see how it kind of pairs like a nice wine and cheese with this lead generation link as the call to action for these some of these marketing resources. But anything to add before we hop over there to the marketing kit?
Yeah, I'll just add really quickly. You can think about this questionnaire as a tool for your firm that doesn't just collect data, it's really starting the relationship.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to sort of have that call to action, like you said, where a prospect can fill in their information. They get a risk number out of the experience. You're creating that curiosity, and then you, the advisor, would get all of their info in nitrogen, and you can follow up and sort of start those prospecting workflows.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, great point there. I appreciate that. Starting that relationship. All right. Well, clicking on menu here, we'll move right along here, clicking on menu and then marketing kit. And you'll see that there. And depending on subscription level, this is available on most subscription levels. If you don't see it, we can check on that for you to see if we've got the right subscription level for you there. But most people should have access to this. But as we're going through the advisor marketing kit here, again, what are some nice pairings for that lead generation? How can we basically get to that call to action? The marketing kit gives us some resources to go through here. So as we see here, we've got a bunch of things where we can add a high level look here as we can see what is available here. And this is just all one page as we can continuously scroll down here to see the different things here. So here's another way to get that lead generation link out there using a QR code. So maybe you have this on a slide during a webinar or a Zoom webinar you're doing, or in person. You can customize this slide with your with a hex code there if you know about those, or just click on the box there and you can choose a color and have that match maybe your firm branding, and then click download to get that as an image so you can put it wherever you want to. I don't know, print it out on your car and magnetize it to the side of your car. I've seen people drive around do that with QR codes. So however you want to use that, you can use that and download it for your firm there. As we move on, we can see our next option right here is a client facing video. Why should people care about finding their risk number? Why is it important that their advisor that they're considering talking to or having a meeting with, why should I care about this? Why should I click on that button, that lead generation link? Well, this video helps explain that in an animated, easy to understand, just a couple of minutes long. You'll see the directions there, instructions just to the right of that image there of how we can get that video into your hands so that you can use it, putting it on a website, putting it in a social media post. You can do that and basically, again, generate curiosity around that risk number. We've seen people that have on their webpage have just had a landing page just all around the risk number and risk, and click here to find your personal risk number, and that video can be an instrumental part on the web page there. So more information there on the page to how you can get that video in your hands. As we scroll down here, our marketing team has put together just, always like if you have a question about compliance, we always say check with your team to make sure that this is good for you. We've got a PDF there that you can download, client facing flyer. So maybe you're looking for information you want to hand out or you want a digital copy there. We give you the design files for these. So maybe you want to add your logo to that as well. You can download that, send it over to your team. They can modify those for you. Again, aggregated some best practices here for you. If you're like, well, how do I advertise online? How do I get myself out there? I'm trying to do it all. Maybe I need some advice. We put that advice there for you. Posters, these are fun ones. We have instructions there on how to get a free poster for your firm, for your office there. I've seen advisors kind of like this is not really a great example, but you could have a poster right over your shoulder right there. I've been on Zoom calls with advisors that have it framed on the wall. They've had it in their lobby. Again, get people asking questions like, that's interesting. How do I use that? We'd love to send a poster and get it in your hands there. Press release, I like to think of this as like a Mad Libs. You download it and we give you the blanks to fill in, and you can fill in the relevant ones. If you want to send it out to local media sources for you to get your name out there, you can absolutely do that. This I think is a diamond in the rough right here. I love this. These presentation files, whether you're using a Mac or a PC, or if you want to download the PDF, you can do that. But I do recommend getting the Keynote or the PowerPoint file there, because in that we have talking points in the speaker's notes. We have how to talk through the risk number, how to explain what this process is like for folks. So take advantage of that material that's been curated for you there. You can even grab those images that are in those slides and put them on your website. Use them however you want. We intentionally are not putting our logo on that stuff so that you can make that branding part of your own and use it in your marketing efforts there. So be sure to give that a look there. And then we were talking about social media a little bit earlier, that hyperlink, using that as a call to action. Well, what do we use to get people's attention on social media in a post here? Stopping the scroll, if you will. You'll see that on the left-hand side there, we can choose what phrasing we want, and it will update dynamically there. We could also change the color. Maybe I want a different color here for this post. What does that look like? We can go ahead and customize that and then download it for the platform that we're wanting: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I guess it's not Twitter anymore. I guess it's X, but you get the idea there for how you want to download that. But that will download it in the dimensions for that platform likes. So another fun one to go in there, create curiosity around that risk number, and then use that hyperlink that we saw earlier with the lead generation questionnaire as a call to action. Right. What's your risk number? Click on this link here and let's find that out for you. And we got more web and social media strategies, that button there that you can download and just get some more ideas on how you can start to leverage this in your practice, in your firm here. And then as we scroll down here, we've aggregated basically all of this down at the bottom here. So you can kind of go down and see everything that we talk about that's offered and use the same download files there. So that's the marketing kit, creating curiosity around that risk number, using that lead generation link or that button on your website, email signature, using these pieces here in the advisor marketing kit to say like, hey, how am I getting it out there in the wild? Next thing we want to say is like, okay, let's just say, great, somebody clicked on that link, they clicked on that button. I have a prospect now. What the heck do I do with that? What are some best practices for the next step? Stephanie, I'm going to turn that over to you. But real quick, any other things to add around here with the marketing kit before we move on to that next step there?
No, I don't think I would add anything. If folks are in their accounts now and they have the marketing kit, go in there and explore. There's a lot there. I know we just gave you a ton of information. So those can be really helpful as you're building your funnel. If you want to beef up your current marketing efforts, those can be really, really useful. So
Can
yeah,
I say,
let's talk
I'm
about,
sorry, Stephanie, can
yeah.
I say one more thing too? Because I know typically our friends from LPL are typically on these calls. So if we have any folks from LPL and you're like, wait a second, LPL actually has their own approved marketing resources there, version of the marketing kit. So clicking on the help tab right there, you'll see if you're in LPL, we got you there, and you'll be able to see those resources there in the help tab for you if you're looking for that specifically. LPL just wants to make sure like, hey, we want to take a look at this first, but we always say like, ask your compliance team ahead of time, no matter who you're with, if you have any questions about that. So, anyway, sorry, Stephanie. Thanks for letting me interrupt
No
there.
problem. No, great call out. So yeah, let's talk about what the process could look like after you have prospects come into your nitrogen system. Obviously, you've piqued someone's curiosity, they find out their own risk number, and then you're able to hopefully follow up with them and take those next steps. So where can you provide value in that prospecting funnel building flow? They've become aware of your firm, they've engaged with you. Now maybe you want to follow up before an initial meeting or as a part of that initial meeting. We have a couple of areas where you can go in and kind of differentiate yourself and your process for prospective clients. Their first one being obviously current portfolio. You can come in and analyze someone's current portfolio and bring in any held away accounts. If they send you a paper statement or a PDF statement, you can add that in. I'm going to show folks really quickly this add account option. If you're creating like a brand new portfolio or just adding an additional account, it's going to be tucked away under this fund stocks and other option. If you see this nitrogen AI upload file tool, that's where you can scan in those PDF statements from prospects and have the nitrogen system do that data extraction for you. So again, we want to make your lives easier, make things faster so that you can really focus on the value that you're providing that human connection in your prospect meetings. So once you have captured any outside assets, you're able to give them that professional second opinion with their investments. Hey, let's compare what you actually have in your portfolio to the risk level that you want to be taking. So you can come in and analyze that. And of course, we're not going to go into all of the clicks today, but jump into that help center anytime to learn how you can go through these processes step by step to fill in portfolios and things like that. But this risk number can really help you guide the conversations. You can show clients or prospects, I should say, if there's a misalignment, and then you can come in and make your recommendations here as well. Let me jump to one other profile that probably has a little bit of a better illustration. There we go. So this is a pretty common situation that we hear from advisors when they meet with prospects. They analyze someone's current portfolio and they're like, wow, that's taking on way more risk, most often, than where the prospect wants to be. So that's where you can go in, kind of have that alignment conversation, and then build out a proposal. Maybe your firm uses models. You can create those recommendations on here's how we as a firm can help you invest more effectively. Maybe that's being in better alignment with the risk number that they want. Maybe that's having more effective or efficient investments driven by that GPA metric. So there's a lot that you can talk about here. And then whether you're meeting with folks in person or like many of us meet nowadays, we're meeting remotely. We also have baked into Nitrogen the screen share tool so that you can have a secure screen share with your prospects, have them join in from wherever are in the globe. They can follow along and you can walk them through these different areas to have that conversation with them and say, you know, here's your portfolio, here's our proposal, here's how we can help you invest better in more alignment with where they want to be. Chris, I think you had a cool story or use case with the screen share tool, right?
Yeah, we've heard from quite a few advisors that really probably biggest ROI inside of using nitrogen, the screen share inside of nitrogen is in this prospecting space here. So when I've got their risk number there, like for Michael, we've got them as a risk number 54. They went through that questionnaire. Now I've got their portfolio in there. Let's get them in and let's review it. So we have a 54 right now is what you said you're comfortable with. Now you say we put your investments in, we got your portfolio, entered it in there, maybe using AI statement capture there. And it's a 73. And so many advisors tell us this is the ACAT form moment. This is where we see the misalignment. This is where we see like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it from this perspective. What do we do next? And going through that proposal process, saying, all right, well, here's our solution for you. Using screen share, keeping it inside of Nitrogen there, you can, it's very secure. We don't have any, outside, notifications popping up if you have stuff popping up on your desktop. If you navigate away from Michael's profile here, for example, it will just show your logo on the other side, so it's secure. They're not going to see any other client information or account information or notifications on your desktop. So when you're working inside of Nitrogen, and that might be the focus of your conversation, a real great use case there.
Yeah, fantastic. So definitely consider that if you need a secure screen share for those prospect meetings. That can be really great and easy to use. But really, the value here in sort of that funnel process is when you meet with prospects. This can help create those visuals that give prospects the clarity and confidence in beginning to work with you as their advisor. And we've seen advisors follow up and tell us that this has exponentially helped their close rates. So there's definitely an advantage there if you're going through these workflows as a part of your prospecting process that can really bring a lot of value to your firm as you're growing. And then I want to mention just some pro tips in terms of adding additional value. If you want to talk income planning with prospects, you can use the retirement map tool to go in and talk about, are we going to have enough money once we retire? How much do we need? What are our goals? Things like that. Having big picture conversations. You can also do that in nitrogen as well as taxes. This is brand new, but I want to mention it. Our AI Tax Center, you can upload a prospect's 1040. Maybe you have them send you a statement and their most recent tax return. You load that in, flash it up on the screen in your meeting, and say, hey, here's what we offer as a firm, not only investment guidance, but we can help you understand all this complicated tax stuff. I know that's always pretty appreciated from clients. They want to know, how do we make sense of all this stuff? So AI Tax Center is a great tool that you can add on to your existing subscription and be able to provide that much more value to prospects and again kind of pique their interest and then show them everything once they sign on as a client. So AI taxes are there, but this really helps you build that first meeting workflow, differentiate yourself against, maybe any other advisors that particular prospective clients are exploring or meeting with. So you can stand out from the crowd for sure. So yeah, with that, I think we can start to wrap up and head towards our Q&A time. But Chris, anything you want to share in terms of like success stories that we've heard from advisors or anything on what we've covered today?
Yeah, I think really I love what you said, Stephanie, about clarity and confidence and helping folks get it using this quantitative process, using that number as our base. My wife and I, we've gone through the questionnaire. She's a 94. She's like, let's full pedal to the metal. I am not that. So I'm lower than that. So whether you're dealing with an individual or with a household, again, I love that clarity and confidence, seeing if there's a disconnect where that lies using that number there. So I think that's really good. We have other advisors, like especially if you do a seminar or a webinar or something like this, have some fun with it. We have advisors that tell us like, hey, I have everybody go to my website, click on that button there. It's going to take you a couple of minutes here. And then, all right, let's have a game. Who got a risk number between a 20 and a 35, right? And give a prize out for the lowest number, a prize out for the highest number. And now you've got a bunch of leads sitting in your nitrogen account there. You can go through and pre-qualify. We have advisors that use this as a process to pre-qualify. Maybe they are a little bit below your minimums there, and you can refer them out and at least do them a nice service that way. Or you're like, oh my gosh, this person's sitting on quite a lot of money here. We should probably follow up with them. And so that next follow-up process of like, let's get your portfolio in here. Let's see how that compares to your personal risk number. So a lot of folks are using it, like you said, Stephanie, to grow their business, to help find that maybe even with current clients, that money that might be held away and go through that process as well. So anyway, with that being said, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and go to our live Q&A here. Unless Stephanie, we have anything else that we want to show off before we go?
I will pop up some resources here on the screen. Of course, we mentioned the poll that we'll launch. We'll do that now so you have time to give us your feedback on today's session. But as always, you can reach us at the coaching team by emailing us. So we'll launch that. But also on screen here, I'll leave some resources. We mentioned that Help Center. Feel free to take a picture of this with your phone or screenshot it so you have this to reference later. Like Chris mentioned, we like to teach you how to fish and make sure that you have a ton of resources at your fingertips where you need them, when you need them. So definitely check out that Help Center. But yeah, we'll get into questions. Drop those questions in the Q&A box um, while we're here in Zoom, and we'll jump into those now.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for all the questions that have been coming in here. And we love seeing all those come in, the engagement there. And we'll leave that poll up there for just a little bit longer. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that window there inside of your Zoom window there to check out the poll, let us just know how we're doing here, how we can help you out. All right. Let's go start answering some of these questions now here. Stephanie, I'm going to throw this first one over to you. Again, a lot of good questions coming in here. Could this also be posted to our LinkedIn site and page? That came in when we were talking about that lead generation questionnaire, that link, that button, etc. Can Stephanie, can you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can most definitely use the lead generation questionnaire on your LinkedIn. Highly recommend. Um, you can copy that hyperlink option that's in your menu and settings under the lead generation tab. You can take that hyperlink and include it there. The one pro tip that I've heard from some folks is if you use a website like a URL shortener, um, LinkedIn might actually automatically shorten URLs now, if I remember right. But if not, you can look up a URL shortener, paste it in there, and that way you get like a 10 to 12 character URL versus a whole big long URL web link that you have in your settings. But yes, definitely drop it on LinkedIn if that's where you generate leads.
Awesome. Great answer there. So yeah, a lot of versatility with that. We've got one of our lead project managers on here, Mark Bivens. Mark, it helps us basically, hey, where's the product going? Where we headed? Also, love that product feedback. We've gotten some good product feedback here, Mark, of stuff that maybe Nitrogen can't do today, but doesn't mean that it couldn't necessarily do it tomorrow. We had a question here. Is there a way to use this button in a text message? And this might actually be kind of a product idea, but anything that you'd like to say towards that?
Really good product idea. Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably the best thing I have to say there. I do love that. I think there's just some general formatting we need to do to get it to fit in there, from what I know. But yeah, that's one we can add to our radar. Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I will say, not an automated way to do that. If you kind of want to work around that, I have a lot of advisors that take that lead generation link and just have it on a note in their phone. So if you're out, maybe you're out networking, maybe you're out talking to somebody, you're out with a group or whatnot, you've got that right there. So you could just say, hey, either I send it in an email address. Now, again, compliance here, right? If you can send things through, if you can put text in a text message and take it that way, if you've got maybe some text messaging apps for your firm there that's a compliance approved, then yes. But yeah, we'll just let you determine how you want to do that. Otherwise, you could just pull it up on your phone, put it in an email, send it out real quick, and do it that way. But really great product feedback there. Appreciate it. I see some hands being raised. We're go ahead and put your questions there in the Q&A box there inside of Zoom there, so we can track those. We're not going to be taking folks off of mute necessarily today, as we've got a lot of questions to get through here. Want to make sure that we're keeping to our time frame here. Next question is, I'll take this one. How can we upgrade to gain access to the marketing kit there? So yeah, if you didn't see the marketing kit, we have different levels of subscriptions, but if you didn't see it up at the top there under menu and then see marketing kit right there, shoot us an email at hello@nitrogenwealth.com, and we can even put it in the chat there. If we can have our friends helping us backstage, hello@nitrogenwealth.com. And you can go ahead and we'll schedule some time to line you up to see what it looks like to add that onto your account. So yeah, great question there. Next one, Stephanie, I'll come to you. Is there a way to change the dark background so it makes the text easier to read? I think we were talking about the button for the lead generation questionnaire, but if that isn't what we're talking about, then definitely let us know. Stephanie, I didn't mean to lead the witness there. Maybe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes, I believe that's when we were talking about the lead generation and the button. So I can show that again just as a reference inside of our nitrogen settings.
Luana
But
wrote in and she said yes. Sorry. So I think she did
okay,
confirm. That's
beautiful.
that's
Okay, fantastic. No, thank you for confirming. So if we get on the same page here visually, let me pull this up. When you're in your menu and settings under lead generation, this button here is where you can edit the colors. So you can have light or dark. small or large, so you can edit these. I know the small one bolds the text a little bit more, so maybe that's easier to read. If you prefer the light background, you can do that. And I believe if you prefer, maybe if you're working with like a professional website making company or what have you, if you go to this little advanced tab next to hyperlink, this should allow you to work with somebody who builds this kind of stuff customized, and they can take this information and make a lead generation questionnaire button for you that customizes the look of it. So definitely check that out. It's above my pay grade, my experience level. I'm not a web editor, but hopefully work with some great folks who are, and they can help you make that. If you want to change that button from just the light versus dark option here that's in your settings. So
Awesome. Really good. You had mentioned something there, Stephanie, about customizing. I'm going to jump down to a question here because I think that's kind of in the same thread. Do you refer to website builders? So if you're thinking like, how do I customize my website? Does Nitrogen customize my website? We get that question every now and again if we do any professional services like that. We do not. However, we did check with our marketing team here and a few folks that we've partnered with and that we could refer you to. The Pinnacle Group is one of them. FMG Suite. I know we have a lot of advisors that work with FMG Suite. Snappy Kraken would be another one. Those are a few just suggestions there for you when it comes to website customization. So if you want to trick it out, if you're not the one that's doing that and you want to look for maybe some agencies that can help you out with it, again, the Pinnacle Group, FMG Suite, and Snappy Kraken is another one that could potentially help you out there. Mark, this is kind of a functionality one. I'll send this next one your way here. After a prospect fills out the questionnaire, does it just evaporate into space, Mark? Where the heck does that thing go once they've done that?
Yeah, so I believe you get a notification of the answers on the questionnaire once you've filled it out. So that'll let you know exactly how they answered the questionnaire. It isn't stored on their profile within Nitrogen, but that will be delivered directly to your inbox. So you know once they filled it out, who filled it out, and how they filled it out.
Perfect. Yeah. So you'll get an email message. You'll get an email alert there when it comes through. Next steps, and we mentioned it here, but next steps is to find out, okay, like what's in your portfolio. We've got your risk number there. Now it's a great chance to reach out to them and say, all right, well, let's do a free portfolio analysis for you there and see how that compares to what that number is that we got through that lead generation questionnaire. Another question here. We got a few folks that said, "Hey, I had some stuff going in. I had to join a little bit late into boot camp here. Is this being recorded?" Yes, it is. We will send out the recordings here to all who attended and who registered for boot camp. So we are sending a recording out there when this is done. Stephanie, I'll send this one your way. What is the easiest way to use that client-facing video? So in the marketing kit there, one of the resources that we saw was a client-facing video. Hey, here's why your advisor is using Nitrogen. Here's why you consider using a risk number. Is it YouTube or a hyperlink that they have on their site? What are some kind of best practices around using that video?
yeah, excellent question. So the way it should work, from the marketing kit, when you reach out to our support team, if you want them to customize it by dropping in your logo, and possible disclosure, they should send you the MP4 file afterwards. So with that MP4 file, you could find a way to embed it into your website if you want to do it that way. Or a use case that I've heard from advisors before is that they'll take that MP4 file and upload it to like a Vimeo or a YouTube, something like that. So then you do have an easy to use hyperlink or website URL that you can drop wherever you want that video to show up. So two practices or two options. You could choose to either embed the MP4 file on your website or drop it into somewhere like YouTube to then just have a quick link.
Awesome. Cool. All right. I will take the next one here. Does your lead generate? This is actually a great question. I've not seen this one before. Does your lead generation prevent or reduce web crawlers or robots, bots there, from coming and creating false leads through some sort of verification? So to answer that question specifically, no. Do we have anything that's preventing something to do that? No, we don't. But that's one of the things why we have Mark here to hear some of these things, like, hey, as we're looking to improve the product, etc. We did check with our marketing team. So this was a very interesting thought. We checked with the marketing team and just how they're always putting stuff out there and putting, getting leads out there because we would love folks to know more about nitrogen. They said the only time that that has been an issue is when we offered gift cards. And so when we put, hey, sign up and here's a free gift card, then the bots, I always feel like the Matrix, like they all heads up and they went straight for it. But other than that, we haven't seen anything like that. But as always, if that's something that you're concerned about or you're seeing, definitely reach out to us, support@nitrogenwealth.com, and let us know if you're seeing that or if you're concerned about that. But specifically to answer the question, no. But we would love to be updated on that if that's a thing. And we'll take that into our product feedback as well. Next question here. Mark, this is for you. If you add a link to the website, is there a way to filter to see those with the most to invest, or would we just receive an email for each of those leads that are coming in?
Yeah, just the email on those. So yeah, your best bet is to make sure that you've got those communications saved. There's probably a good product idea in here. Some of these questions get asked, right? Maybe there's a better way that we can index those to make them searchable, queryable, all that good stuff. So I really like the nature of where some of these are coming from. But yeah, today it's the email notification that you get every time it gets filled out.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Next, Mark, I'm going to keep it right here in your zone for a second because I haven't seen this in a while, but is there an app for nitrogen where we could just download an app on our iPad or on our phone or smart device?
There is not today. So that's something that it does come up from time to time, right? That the app question and then also the client portal question seem to kind of go hand in hand a lot. There's as we continue to build out into more and more features that include more of the advisor day. I do wonder if that's something that we're not going to run up against here sometime in the near to medium future. So keep your eyes peeled for if we do add something like that to our radar. Love the idea. Something we'd have to carve out some time for though.
Yeah, for sure. And for those that might be going like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure if you've been with the comp or with Riskalyze/nitrogen for a while, there was an app at one
There
point.
was.
The usage wasn't quite what we expected it to be, but this is something that's good for us to hear. If maybe that wasn't the right time, but this could be the right time for it. So yeah, Mark, thanks for taking that one and keeping that on our radar here. Stephanie, I'll send this one over to you. Are you saying you can share a screen with a prospect even when you're not on a Zoom call? So, Stephanie, can you walk us through that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So just as a reminder, I'll pull up a visual here. Again, when you're in a client profile, you can indeed just simply share your screen. So even if you are not in a Zoom call, if you're merely talking on the phone with a client or something along those lines, you can choose this share screen option on the right. Now, if you think this is something that you want to try, click on this before a client meeting because you will need to likely download an extension, a browser extension. And then all you would need to do during your meeting or when you're talking with your client is just copy this link, send it to them, start the screen share, and then they could join if y'all are talking together on the phone. They could join that and follow along. And like we mentioned, the great thing is it will share your screen here, but just for this client's profile. So it won't show anything else on your desktop. It won't show any of your other clients or client information in nitrogen. It would just literally show this profile and you can walk through portfolios, proposals, questionnaires, all of that right here on screen.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. All right, let's move on here. Oh, Mark, this is for you, actually. In it, we kind of did a brief mention of one of the newer, shinier objects, AI Tax Center. I meant to drop this in the chat a little bit earlier. If you're intrigued by that, I'd put that in the chat window there. If you want to find out more, you can click on that link, let our team know, and we can walk you through what all that looks like. But Mark, we got a question here. When will you have the Roth IRA calculator available for the tax feature? And no, that was not a plant, Mark. That question actually did come through.
Love it. We are working on so much cool stuff in Tax Center right now. So yeah, stay tuned for everything that's coming out there. Roth conversion calculator in particular was the very first thing up after launch for our phase two. We are most of the way through that from an engineering standpoint. So start to look for a rollout of that product by the end of this month. It doesn't mean it'll be in everybody's hands at the end of this month, but we'll certainly be starting to roll that out. If you're interested in being in the first group to get your hands on it, and you have Tax Center already, let us know. Would love to get that pushed out to you ASAP and let you have a look.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, you guys are moving at it seems like lightning speed, especially as those requests are coming in to get that coming through. So, because people are here, Mark, I'm putting you a little bit on the spot, but because they're joining boot camp, any other like roadmappy things that besides what we mentioned at Summit that we can give folks a heads up of what we're thinking about at least?
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of the stuff that you're probably thinking of, right? I know we get the question a lot about replacing Callista Plan and can we kind of have all the everything in one spot, and that's kind of what we aim to do, right? So just mentioned the so we just pushed out the report element, right? You have your AI Tax Center where you can upload your 1040 and get the snapshot. Now with Roth conversion coming out later this month, I'm just starting to, or not just starting, I am scoping out, and we're about to start work on tax what if scenarios, right? So as Tax Center today is a backwards look, what happened to your taxes in 2025? This will allow you to have all the dials and knobs to say, well, what if this changes in 2026 and this changes in 2026? I moved to a new state. I realized some more gains. Maybe I started DAF. Maybe I started QCD. And any of those types of scenarios, what does that do to my tax picture going forward? So that's going to be the next big push. We think we've got a pretty good round offering that competes really well in the space when we can do all of those things. So that's the roadmap as it exists today. Those are the things that we're working on. And certainly, if there's a bunch more stuff you want, let us know. Definitely taking votes for what comes after that.
Mark, real quick, and you mentioned there a little bit, but I think a lot of people are thinking about this about 30 seconds. Does that tax center replace Holista Plan? Can you just talk specifically to that for about 30 seconds?
Yeah, I think with each of these steps, we replace more and more of it, right? So with Roth conversions, that's the biggest, most asked for piece. I think that's a big percentage of folks are saying that allows me to consolidate everything with nitrogen. The tax scenarios is the very next biggest thing that gets asked. I think that casts a pretty wide net for us, replaces Holista Plan and other tools pretty well at that point. So yeah, we're working fast to get there.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Any ideas, again, that you want to let us know, support at nitrogenwealth.com. Send those in there. We have a way to surface those up to our product team. So we really appreciate any thoughts that are coming in from you. All right. I want to make sure before we get to the top of the hour here that we're getting through all of our questions. A lot of good ones coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take this one. I'm with RBC. I don't have all the functions on the lead generation tab. Can you help? Yeah. So really simple there. If you want to, you can go to menu settings, lead generation, and then click on the link. It might say untitled link, or you can click on untitled link there, and you'll see all of those options. That should be universal throughout Nitrogen. So you've got, menu settings, lead generation. Click on the link to see all of those options there. If you're ever hitting a speed bump there, and yeah, thank you, Stephanie. I think you're sharing us right there for us where it says untitled link right there. Perfect. And then when you click on that, yeah, you'll see that sub navigation menu there where we've got button, hyperlink, advanced, and that will take you to each one of those pages there where you can do a bit more customization when it comes to the buttons, or copy that code to send it over to your website team, or that hyperlink if you want to copy and paste that as you're using it in social media campaigns or in a blog or an email, etc., etc. So that's all right there. But again, if you're hitting any speed bumps there, that help tab on the right hand side of your screen there, you can search lead generation, for instance, or you can email our support team, support at nitrogenwealth.com, and they can definitely help you out. We are here for you. All right, here we go. I'm unclear. Oh, I got this one. good. I'm unclear. I received a response in the chat that said I could text the lead generation button, but Mark answered that the question as it could be a development item. So just some clarification there. Uh, it could be like if you just wanted to text it directly from Nitrogen. That's something that's not available today. Like you couldn't just, here's a text option, just click the button and it'll text it. That's not an option today. We're taking that as a product idea. If you wanted to basically take that hyperlink that we just saw under menu settings and lead generation, take that hyperlink and copy and paste it in a text message, that's kind of a workaround, if you will, to do it. But again, I would always say compliance, compliance, compliance. If you're sending out text messages, do check that if you don't already have approved process for text messages. So sorry if that was confusing. Hopefully we cleared that up for you. Let's see. Oh, also, hey, we got a heads up about Snappy Kraken with the email campaigns there. They had one. Is it going to be updated? We checked with our marketing department, and actually, I do believe that Snappy Kraken is going to be, it's on the roadmap for them to update that email campaign that's focused around the risk number as well. So here we go. So stay tuned for that, especially with Snappy Kraken there. Let's see. Could you add more questions to the risk questionnaire? Mark, can you just from a product perspective, can you give us a heads up on customizing the questionnaire?
Yeah, good question. Right now, there's not a ton of customization to the risk questionnaire. There are some additional questionnaires we're kicking around. It's really interesting when you think about just the customization of the questionnaire. Sometimes we get things like, maybe there's some additional KYC type stuff that you're looking for. I'm really interested. Whoever asked the question, if you get in touch with us, let us know what kind of questions you're thinking about asking on there, because I've got a few things that I'm working on for this year that involve other questionnaires or expansion of questionnaires and things like that. So I'm really curious about the context. Short answer today is not a lot of customization involved with the risk questionnaire. There's quite a bit of math that goes into what's behind there. So don't want to disrupt that, but I'm very interested in the context of the question though.
One of our favorite blog posts that we put out because the questionnaire is dynamic. If you tried to print it out, it would basically be a stack of papers from
Yeah,
here to like the sun or something like that with all the different combinations that are there. So definitely open to that feedback. We did have one question, and I do want to point out for our friends at LPL, LPL has a section for the approved marketing kit resources for you. I don't know if we mentioned that, called that out specifically. So for LPL specifically, if we have LPL advisors on the call here, you would click on menu on the, or yeah, excuse me, not on menu, on the help tab on the right-hand side there. And then there's an LPL resources right there. And the marketing kit, the approved marketing kit materials will be there for you. Again, those are for our friends at LPL. They have done a special one there for you. Stephanie, I'm trying to see if I see any other questions come in here. I think we've
I don't
covered
think so.
them
Yeah,
all.
no, I think we've got everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Stephanie, for joining me. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Our first day of boot camp tomorrow, we're going to be diving more into the research center side and prepping for the meetings. So we definitely want you here tomorrow to find out more of how advisors are prepping for those meetings, doing research, looking deeper dives into individual holdings and also into portfolios as well. Mark and the team have done a lot of work with Research Center and all of that good stuff. Again, the recording will be sent out. So if you missed any part of this or want to go back and look at some of these questions and answers again, we will be sending the recording out. So stay tuned for that. And with all that said, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks
Bye bye.
everybody.